want to get started, so good morning and welcome to the historic Great Hall of the historic Ayer Town Hall. I'm Robert Conrad, the Ayer Town Manager, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the Town Hall and to welcome you to the Envision Ayer plus Devens 2033 Symposium. So with that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Janice Livingston, Chair of the Ayer Board of Selectmen, and also a representative on the Devens Framework Committee, which is the Vice Chair, to give some formal welcoming points. Janice.
Good morning, Ayer. How are we today? That's good. Gotta get that energy level. So thank you so much for being here. Okay, this is very important. I know that some of you have been talking about Devens and reclaiming the land for years, and it, always a good conversation. But now we are in the game. Okay, so we need to start focusing, and that's what this meeting is about. To get everybody kind of recentered as to, what we need to do and go forward. So I know it's been said in an open meeting, and Alan has said that Alan has a vision. Okay? Now some of you are saying that's not your vision. That's okay. Okay? He's going to teach you how to make a vision. Okay? Because let's be honest, sometimes we have a problem making a vision. All right? So he's going to help guide us to create a vision that we all like to go forward, so that when we hit put the plan in writing to send to the state, our ducks in a row, our T's are crossed, our I's are dotted, and we win. So here's the map. You're going to see the historical line. You're going to see some of the challenges that we have. You're going to see how it comes in between buildings, and how do we do that. So that's what this is about, to get us all re-energized going forward. It's a long haul, but it's worth it. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this. And now let's turn it over to the board person for today. Out.
I'm feeling the pressure now. Ooh. How does it feel being in the Great Hall together? Together. Yes. Come on. What a perfect day for the weather. Right? Very good. And I just want to say it is wonderful. We thank you all for coming here and enjoying together. Are you enjoying the good food? Yes. Yes. The food is provided. I got to do this with my buddy now. Chef Marco, of course, Mark Lee's here. The father of Chef coming here. There's Al right there, but all like Marco's waiting bed. What, right? Here people like good, hearty food. Yes. So I'm glad you all enjoy the food and socialize. What we're going to do, we have a busy day for all of you today. We designed the symposium, though, so that folks can jump in and out. Anytime you want during the day, this is cool. We're going to start, I'm going to go eat for a little bit and talk. We're going to do a presentation. Myself, yesterday. How about yesterday? It's sad. Just like my hair. It's gone. It's just, okay. And then my dear friend and colleague, Neil Angus, the Devens Enterprise Commission, is going to talk about the day of Devens. A lot of folks think, oh, well, know what's going on up there at Devens. Like, you think you do. Neil's going to give you some real sense. And then, tomorrow. And who is the man of tomorrow? Jonathan Krantz. Look at that right there, Chairman. Chairman of the Jonathan speaks very well about where we go, how we go forward, plan, shape, and future. All right? We're not using microphones today. There's no, high stuffy speeches going on. We're here together. We're gonna do the bus tour, you gotta get ready. The bus is gonna pull up at 11:30. And we're all gonna get on one big bus together, as many of us as we can. That'll be a trip, right? And watch out, because Sam Goodwin, you know, is gonna be the bus boss. Told me. Said he might even bring his taser, so be back in the bus. Okay. So we're gonna go out though and tour sites of the historic airlands, okay? And again, you think you know the place when we get out there, right? That's gonna generate all sorts of conversations, and hopefully we'll trigger lots of stuff in our heads. And we're gonna come back here, we're gonna have some very detailed discussions. Meet our deck, our air deck representatives, Jimmy Penardson right there. There he is. There's Judge Gardner, and he's talking about here, he's got out there. Marty Booth, right? We're also going to have a panel discussion on the National Riverfront. Very important, the historic airfield. I think to me that's the most, you know, I say to people there, I say, well, Ayer is a riverfront town. And they look at me and say, what? I say, Ayer is a riverfront town. I said, your entire western border of your town and the majestic National River, it's this mysterious land. There's a lot of reasons we've been disconnected from. Then later today, we're going to meet some of our neighbors that live on Almond Street and Bay Street in Devens. People say to me, Alan, who are these people? They're regular people, just like, but they live up there. Why do they live there? It's like, because it's a beautiful neighborhood and community, and they love it. We're going to meet those very cool people. And then we're going to have a detailed discussion again that Robert will be moderating. The chairpersons, many of our boards and commissions are going to be engaged. So it's going to be a rip-roaring day, right? I'm going to sleep well tonight when I go home, I can assure you that. Right? And tomorrow, right, we have this room is set up beautifully now, right? This is all going to convert tomorrow into a design studio. Tomorrow, Saturday, when we lay out our big maps everywhere with all the big trace paper, Alan pulls out his famous magic box of markers and crayons and everything you can imagine, as we all do long-range planning and design. Like if someone said to me, Alan, what would you put on the riverfront if you could? Well, I'm going to draw it out and show you what I do. Why don't you guys come and say, here's what I think. So that's going to be tomorrow. All this is meant in the end, folks. We are going to form our Ayer residents, Devens 2033 committee. Be the committee that's going to work. You know, we have a rendezvous with destiny in 2030. So, and we're going to see what Ayer comes up with the folks as to how we want, you know, what is the fate of the land, historic airlands. And I know myself, I learned at this age, I turned 60 this past year, which I can't believe when those words even come out. Huh? How did that happen? Easy. How fast the last 10 years seems to have gone by in my life. And it's like the next 10 years. Think of kids right now that are 2 years old, and those kids are what, in 6th grade. That's it. This is decision time. Fast. All right. Eat. I'm going to shut up. And then we'll, yay! And then we'll start our presentation with myself, Neil, Jonathan, in a few minutes. All right, folks, we're just going to start. But I love this. See, I feel bad. We're socializing now. See what just happened? All that great conversation stuff. We're going to do this presentation just for you all. Keep eating and keep talking. Again, we're not doing anything stiff here and formal today. Talk during all this. Laugh. When I say something, things are going to say, hey, wait a minute. Just, right? All right. I'm going to just start off quick, followed by Neil Angus, and again, with John Krantz. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, right? Now the sentence yesterday. Well, Miriam, how are you? Look out, the newspapers are going to look out. A lot of folks kind of, they know, there's a history of Devens and Ayer together. But I'm going to quickly do this. I cannot tell the history of Devens sitting here in front of you all. It's an amazing epic story starting in 1917, wrapping up, with the decommissioning of the basement, rat hearings, in the mid-90s. I'm not going to give you the history of Devens and Ayer. It's way too extensive, deep, but I want to just give you a sense of, how the coming of Devens, shaped here. It really is shaped here, whether we want to get it done, and frankly, how Ayer responded to all that. And I know these visuals might be hard for a lot of us to pick up on it. Don't worry too much about the visual stuff, but just start right there. Yes, of course, there was no Ayer. This was Groton, Harvard, Shirley H. colonial towns. Something happened there in 1843, 1840. Well, there you go. The great nexus of 5 rail lines all happened, right about 1850. When you do that, what was not a place becomes a place. And yes, there became a railroad town that was truly born of the railroad. But I just showed you here. There's always that interesting little notch, though. When you look at that old historic border, of course, this was a Shamokin. Ancient Harvard, Shamokin, but Nonokoikis. Can we all say Nonokoikis? Nonokoikis. I love it. Like this, and of course, into the colonial English times, the great ancient farm of Major Simon Willard. That's why the field's called Willard Field. Anyway, it's this little interesting notch, though, carved out there that, frankly, what we're talking about. Ayer was Ayer was a railroad town. All right? It was rough stuff. But by the 1890s, Ayer was actually becoming, believe it or not, a nice, genteel Wingland township. They were working very hard. Of course, myself. So I take it, what do we call it? Well, from Wilmington, Delaware.
Your car warranty expired, Alan.
Thank you, Jeff. They started doing the Village Improvement Society, planting elm trees on the street. They actually started talking of, we're going to make Ayer's becoming a residential town. It was actually coming together as more maybe we think of a genteel place, although a rough railroad town. Yes, East Main Street, it was, this was the 1890s, turn of the century, the type of little quiet town where your little son could ride his tricycle, let's see, right on the Main Street if you wanted to. See, this is where it was for, the 1890s, 1900s century. And then all of a sudden, in May of 1917, you see articles like this saying, there is as yet no definite information in regards to whether or not the proposed mobilization camp for the military purposes will be located here. Much interest is shown in the matter. Rumors of all kinds. Look at that. Read it. See that? Boy, wow. All right, rumors of all town are current. According to the best sources obtainable, it can be said that the location of the camp is still uncertain. What was going unlike today, if they're going to put some major new building, me right here, impacts and all, now it's just like, back then it was, guess what? We're going to locate the largest military installation in New England, Europe, little town. How's that good? And by the way, whether you like it or not, that's what we're doing. So live with it, get used to it, or leave. This is how it was back then. And in fact, they did tour the place and they decided, so this is what came upon this little town of Ayer and portions of Harvard and Shirley located what was then Camp Devens. World War I. It's forever changing this place. And you can see here, I love this, like, you know, it's such a little town. Last Sunday was a record break for the number of visitors coming to the camp, when it was estimated that fully 250,000 people were present during the day. 250,000 people descended on this town in the summer of 1917. Because the base was here and everyone was here. The Great Throng caused the biggest congestion since the establishment of the camp and kept the military guards and civilian officers busy all day. So large was the crowd that an electric car conductor walked ahead of his car, clearing the passageway for it to proceed. The trolley cars couldn't get it. Talk about an extreme change. How do you handle that in your life? This Depot Square, it was a quiet little railroad station, but it became a place where every soldier was coming in. And we got a There's our little fountain that was once there, which we just brought back. Why did it go? Because when we came in, they said, you gotta get that fountain out of there. We need every inch here for the military to get it, and this was symbolic. Hey, town, get the hell out of our way. This is a military camp town. And that was it. There was no argument. This is what happens in this little town. Now, you know, what do you do with that? Where keep their kids? You know? The land within the limits of the perfect camp will pass under government ownership beginning May 20th. The date on which Major Robert Bonner, quartermaster, acquisition officer, been instructed to institute condemnation proceedings. On that day, the Army will take over the land. The Army will take over the land. Canceling leases, stopping from all this business. The Army can't conduct. Let me do this. So what does this mean for a place like here? First of all, what happens in this little town? The soldiers. Picture having 10 to 20,000 soldiers. They're here now. They're trained all week at the base. You know what they're trained to do all week? Kill people. Warriors, right? And what do they do? It's Friday night and Saturday. What? All these soldiers are sped up like a town. What do you think soldiers are interested in after a hard week? The gateways and roadways to the town. You look on all the old postcards, go on eBay and such, and do Devens, all you see is it'll say Ayer, Massachusetts. Every gate and gateway wasn't in. It's very big gate now. The roadways, all the roadways written into the camp through Ayer. All this is going through the air, and it's going to change here. It did. The fences, the perimeters, and the guards. When you put a military, it's a perimeter. We put fences up. Are there any fences around the town there? Are there fences around the town of Harvard? Are there fences around the town of Shirley? Do you have to go through a gate and a guard post to come into air? Yeah, I do that too. Those fences are still up, by the way. The money. You know how much money this brought to this place? You're a smart business person back then, so, geez, what? I just hit the goal. And the ones that could, like the authors who, I'm going to exploit that market. They're here. I'm going to do it. Had lots of big money was made. The police department. A little police department before this. And all of a sudden now you have these poor Chief Beatty back there. He would plead with the military. How do we control these soldiers in our town? The cars, the people. Well, you better do something to get used to it. The post office was overwhelmed. Also, it shows us saying, letters from the family, so how do we deal with this? The churches were overflowed. It was the biggest time for the churches in town. Because all the soldiers would go to the churches here in town. The churches loved it. The railroad depot forever changed. The municipal wastewater system. Why does here have a great municipal wastewater system for a small little town like this? Because of the base. The Army flipped out. We had straight open sewer lines going into that river at this time. The Army said, you gotta kill all the soldiers and poison them. We can't do this. We're gonna build a wastewater system. All of this shaped and changed there. Gas stations. Gas stations. Because right when this happened, this was the rise of the combustible gasoline engine cars. Where was there not a gas station? Come on, you old townies in here. Where was there not a gas station lining the street? Everywhere. You couldn't build enough gas. And we live with that today everywhere we do. You know there's an underground event. What do we do? The railroad expanded massively further. Alcohol, food, prostitution, brawling. A vice. Big money was made off alcohol. I can't even describe. Magnificent. Couldn't sell enough food to the soldiers. And yes, our charming little New England town. You think prostitution existed in this space? I'll stop it there. Good business. Right? You say, oh, here's a quite charming town. Crime, the business community changed. The loss of the old common, what we the Rotary today, was our Rotary. That was the historic colonial village of South Rock. It was known as Old Common. Why does it not have it? Well, it was obliterated when they built the traffic circle, as they called it, in 1940 and 41. They said, you have to bring the colonial village? Yeah. Well, we're getting rid of that now, too. He's got to go. We're putting a Rotary there and a new entrance way called Barn Rotary. Gone. Rental housing became the rage in this town. All the soldiers, their families, will rent our houses out. That changed the town. Contamination, should we talk about contamination? No, we need to say. The airfield, they ended up building a military airfield in the small. There it sits today. People from across the country ended up coming, and that was an amazing thing for a small town. Just you're meeting people from all over the country and everywhere. That was the fascinating thing for a small town. There were many new romances formed here because of this. Young soldiers, young local gals. Yes, this happened too, right? The parades. Oh my God, the epic parades in Devens. She had great military units and military bands and everything. Great. Ethnic and cultural diversity. Go look at the old yearbooks of Ayer High School back in the 50s. You will see children of color, yes, in a small town. Why? What? So they got to experience diversity, as normally they wouldn't have otherwise in a small town. Many people tell me, Ellen, I grew up over in Littleton, where my parents told me I was not allowed, we were not allowed to come to here after dark. Yes? The clubs. Hey, Ruth, I'm sure you were not going to them, not you. The Cheetah Club. Alan, there'd be girls dancing in cages and the weather really was crowded. Yeah. Look at you. Okay. Okay. All that was part of it as well. And then the postcard. All this shape. Janice, still lay it on me. I know you're.
Why are we talking about prostitution? Are we going like?
No, I know. See,
You know,
this is
just,
right.
I mean,
Yes.
all that's great, all the history is
Yes.
great.
This is good.
And I'm all for history and whatnot, but I think we need to let go
Yes.
and move forward.
We are, and that's it. So this is.
Just let me talk more, we're talking about prostitution.
Yeah, I'm saying. This is.
I just don't think we
Why is
talk about
that?
that.
Right. All right. And they were good. That's the one Janice started. And that's it. So this is the point. This is the point. She's right. Yesterday's over. That's done. This is all done.
There's nothing wrong with telling us where we come from now.
No, I know, this is, but this is fine, but you're right, this is not what we're dwelling on. It shaped a lot of things we're going forward into. And that's it, we're done with that. We're gonna talk about what's going on today now, with Neil from Water Construction. Always remember Edith North Rogers, that's why the base, continued on. Vicksburg Square was built, beautiful, they continued with the base. The field is there, which is fascinating, amazing resource. There's our rotary, the old colonial center. Devens Crest is all part of this heritage as well, okay? But now, as Janice just said, this is all in the past, all in the past. All right. I said a lot of that, folks, because, to go and start reporting and looking at these things, it just sort of helps you understand how Ayer was shaped, just by the town, physically and otherwise, is sort of where we're at today. The main thing, though, is the base was decommissioned. Through the BRAC hearings where many bases were decommissioned in 1996. Okay? So now it's been, we're getting on to now almost 30 years ago. And a lot has happened. The governing legislation that was passed back then was known as Chapter 498. And it really lays out its stipulations, how the whole base is going to be redeveloped, the creation of the Devens Enterprise Commission, which was magnificent what they have done in all right? And even 30 years ago, when you look at Janice did a great job with the folks in Mass Development Partners, this is the zoning map and the original reuse plan that was put together back in 96, 97. Neil now is going to tell you, the base was there close. And what is up there today is going to wow.
So, thanks, Alan. So, for those of you.
No, you're not going to that. We're not getting up close to 11:30.
Hard to summarize what's going on in Devens for 5 minutes, but we will do our best. So, welcome everybody. I'm Neil Angus, environmental planner with the Devens Enterprise Commission. So the Devens Enterprise Commission, for those of you who don't know, is the regulatory and permitting authority that is overseeing the redevelopment of Fort Devens, the former Fort Devens. And as Alan said, huge economic impacts on the region. The military brought in a lot of people, the junction of the railroads, that's why the military chose this location, because of the junction of the railroads. All that economic activity, when the Army announced that they were closing down Devens, there was a lot of concern about how they're going to bring back all the people, the jobs, and the opportunity that the Army and the railroads did create. And that's how we came into position. So I'm just going to go through a few slides with you guys to give you kind of orient everybody. Everybody knows where Devens is. Devens Regional Enterprise Zone was set up by the Acts of 1993, as Alan just said. Chapter 498 is the Acts that cover the redevelopment of Devens. So here's a map just showing the boundary of Devens in black. See Ayer, portions of Ayer, Harvard, and Shirley. Shirley, we've got about 700 acres. Former boundary of Shirley. Harvard's got about 2,700 acres in the bottom part here. They've got a big portion of Devens. And Ayer's got a good portion too, though, about 1,000 acres. Half of the North Coast, and a big portion of the Main Coast. So this is all the Main Coast, North Coast, all separated by West Main Street. Most of the Main Coast area in Devens is in our rail, industrial, and trade-related district. And that's because that rail line, the north-south portion of that rail line, runs right along the edge of Devens here and divides Farnham Road. So a lot, you'll see through the presentation, a lot of industries in Devens take advantage of that rail. That's one of the reasons why it was set up as a rail industrial trade related district. So that's just to orient you guys. So Devens today, we still have a lot of federal uses. The Army still has a presence. They have an Army enclave. All the buildings you see in the back here are located on an existing enclave of the Army. The National Guard is still on Farnham Road. We have a federal medical facility as well, too. But today we employ Devens employs over 6,000 people and about over 100 businesses. We've got roughly 900 residents, a lot of great open space, social services, so a lot of economic activity, social, environmental. That all goes back to the reuse plan, which was developed by the towns of Ayer, Harvard, and Shirley. Everybody had input into this reuse plan. What do we want to see Devens develop as in the future? And a lot of, one of the key principles that came out of that was sustainability. We want to see Devens developed in a much more sustainable manner. A lot of contamination in Devens. Devens is a Superfund site, not super fun, super fun. So that's the EPA brownfield program. So a lot of contamination, but a lot has been cleaned up. But again, that reuse plan, balancing economic, social, environmental, that's what sustainability is all about, and that's what we've been trying to guide for the past 20 plus years as the Devens Enterprise Commission. So we are the permitting authority. It's a regional authority, so it's made up of 2 members. It's a 12-member commission that's made up of 2 members from each of the surrounding towns, Ayer, Harvard, and Shirley, and 6 regional members. So we have our representatives from Ayer here today. Well, see Marty here? I don't see Marty. But we have Jim Bernard in the back. Everybody knows Jim. Our chairman, Bill Marshall, is here as well, too. So the DEC is this regional one-stop shop permitting agency that oversees the redevelopment of Devens. And we do that through this unique one-stop shop unified permitting system. So the Devens Enterprise Commission acts as the local Board of Health, Planning Board, the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Historic District Commission, the Board of Health, we issue liquor licenses. It's a broad, a lot of responsibilities. But the Commission takes it seriously, and I think they've done a great job today. Mass Development is the landowner. They manage all the infrastructure, all the utilities. So we are separate agencies. That's an important thing to understand. That the Devens Enterprise Commission is separate from Mass Development, but we work closely and collaborate with them as the landowner, as the manager, to make sure that they are also helping to achieve that sustainable redevelopment mission. So, from an economic perspective, a lot has been going on. We've got a diverse array of businesses. Devens, we've got the Donahue Institute of UMass did a study in 2020 and determined that Devens, actually Devens, contributing over $3.8 billion to the Massachusetts economy each year. That's a lot of money, and you're going to see why it's contributing this much when you see some of the businesses and stuff that is happening. Big manufacturing area, a lot of manufacturing jobs, 40% of the jobs here are manufacturing, which is important to the Massachusetts economy too. And a lot of that is thanks to the rail location, and the location and situation in Devens is excellent for manufacturing jobs. So I'm just going to run through the businesses that exist on Devens. Most of you may know Bristol Myers Squibb. About almost a 90-acre campus. They've invested over $2 billion in Devens and the region. A huge project, biopharmaceutical company creating drugs such as Orencia for rheumatoid arthritis. So a great manufacturing facility there. Devens Recycling, construction and demolition-free recycling facility, 90,000 square foot building. Everything's done inside to contain waste, odors, air emissions. Everything's contained, treated inside. It's a great adaptive reuse of an existing area that was formerly developed by the Army. And we're processing material and they're reusing it for to reduce the amount of virgin material that's in the product. So a great sustainability story for Devens. Another great sustainability story for Devens is Little League Farms, up in the environmental business zone on the other half of the North Coast, not the Ayer side, but it's the Shirley side. Almost 10 acres of greenhouse, all automated, growing baby Little Leaf lettuce, hydroponically, rainwater harvesting basins to harvest all the roof runoff, to irrigate the crops, so very water efficient. A great sustainability story, locally produced food source, and just reducing food miles traveled, all those benefits from producing food locally. We don't want to go backwards, we want to go forward. Compost Fusion, one of our newest businesses in Devens, startup out of MIT. This is their new magnet factory facility. They are producing now superconductor magnets that are going to be part of their fusion energy device that they're building a research and development facility right behind this. Could solve the world's energy crisis and climate change crisis by producing clean, carbon-free energy. Even our fingers crossed for that. But a great project. Watson Marlowe, Fluid Dynamics, just was built in former DeVeo housing circle right across from Red Tail Golf Course. This is a biotech company that builds peristaltic pumps for the medical industry. Great reuse of an existing, this was actually another brownfield site, former housing area that was contaminated, cleaned up, and redeveloped. This is where we should be directing, and that's what Devens was set up as a regional enterprise zone, directing development to areas that are have existing services, and that helps alleviate greenfield development in other areas, and again, meet that goal of sustainable redevelopment for Devens and the region. New England Studios, 4 sound production stages on another former housing area. Produced a ton of movies here, a ton of spin-off benefits for the surrounding communities. They do films in other, all the surrounding towns, and the towns benefit from the economic development that those movies create. So great to see that reuse as well too. And I mentioned the railroad. Railroad has a huge role to play in Devens by providing direct service to some of the buildings in Devens and reduce truck traffic that we're creating. There was a whole environmental impact report that was done for the redevelopment of Devens, and one of the things that was brought up in that report is we don't want to create situations where we're creating significant traffic issues in the surrounding towns. So providing as much access to rail as possible was one of the goals, and we've been pretty successful in that. The red line you see here is the north-south rail line, now operated by CSX. Previously was operated by Pan Am, recently purchased by CSX. And all the green lines you can see are actually rail spurs that have been constructed over the years into the buildings on Devens. One rail car keeps an equivalent of roughly 4 trucks on the road. So it's been a great redevelopment story for the rail industrial trade district. And again, most of these businesses in here, including Devens Recycling, this is all within the former boundary of Ayer, so within the historic boundary. So very. So that was kind of a snapshot of the economic side of Devens. Lots of diverse businesses and uses going on there. So just wanted to kind of give you guys a snapshot of that. So I mentioned sustainability from an economic, environmental, and social benefits. From a social perspective, we've got 25% of our housing is affordable. We've got Shirley senior housing in the Shirley side of Devens. We've got some veterans housing. Some of that is within the historic boundaries of Ayer on Almond Base, the Almond Base Street neighborhood. We have deed restricted units. So affordability is part of that sustainable redevelopment mission. Social services as well too. Clear Path of Veterans is located on Devens. What a great reuse of adaptive reuse performer-based hospital and providing a service for those veterans who served us. It's a great opportunity. Women's shelter, more social services, low officials food pantry, Driver Job Corps, federal organization that's training at-risk youth for jobs. So a lot of social services. Here's a picture of the nice Almond Bay Street area, which is in the former in the historic boundaries of Ayer. So we've had great adaptive reuse of housing. Vicksburg Square, lots of potential for redevelopment of Vicksburg Square.
All these stopping guys want to talk about stops.
And it's important to note that all of these buildings are part of the National Register of Historic Places, so it's a significant environmental history of Devens. To keep those structures and make sure they are maintained. We've got old housing, we've got new housing. Sustainable housing, net zero energy housing. We did a pilot project to show how you can do sustainable housing in an environmentally friendly manner, cluster development, lots of, so that's the actual housing on Shan Street, just off of Grand Road. You haven't been through there. It's an old Army residential neighborhood. It's really, did a really nice job. You take a ride through there. A lot of infrastructure too on Devens. Infrastructure upgrades for the Army facilities. Over $30 million investments to upgrade our water treatment systems and 3 wells. We have a wastewater treatment plant that gives excess capacity to Ayer. We have reserved emergency water connections that are going on as part of the West Main Street project as well too. So environmental cleanup, there is a lot of environmental contamination that has been cleaned up, as I mentioned. There's ongoing cleanup. There's stuff that's been cleaned up. There's long-term management plans. There's a lot going on, and these show all the areas of concern that were identified by the Army, Mass Development, EPA, Mass DEP, and there's a base closure team associated with the Army that is overseeing all of this. So a lot of
You got to get you because that bus is going to be here at 10.
all right. It's a 5 minutes. The industrial park, a lot of environmental, we have a lot of open space too, 13,000 trails. Alan mentioned, the fences and Devens is disconnected from the river. We're trying to reconnect Devens to all the surrounding communities, so our trails, our streets, our sidewalks, bike lanes, everything. So important connections to be remade. Public safety, public facilities. We have our own fire department with over 30 firefighters, full-time firefighters. It's all these businesses, there's a lot going on with them. There's a lot of things that the fire department has to do to protect the health and safety of the residents. We've got a therapist and behavioral health center, hospital. Again, a lot of stuff, a lot of regional collaboration. I won't go into the details on this, we can talk about this later. But the whole point of Devens redevelopment was to help reconnect the communities, bring back economic success to the surrounding communities, and meet that sustainable redevelopment goal reuse plan. And I think we've done that in a good way. We continue to do that. We have third-party certification that shows how we're doing that. So it's not just us trying to toot our own horn. We actually have had third-party industries come in and certify that we are redeveloping in a sustainable manner. With that, I'll turn it over.
Good news! I really only have 5 minutes. I have 3 points to make. I'm Jonathan Kranz, I'm chair of the planning board, and I've lived in Ayer now for just a little over 6 years. The first thing I want to note is that we're gathered not for a crisis or a problem, like PFAS or municipal vulnerability or climate change. All these things are touched on in this. But primarily, let's acknowledge that we're here for an opportunity that all of us can participate in. That's number one. The second thing I want to point out is that we don't know what's going to happen by 2033. We don't know what the political disposition of Devens is going to be between Ayer, Shirley, and Harvard. But what we do know is that whatever happens, we still have extraordinary opportunity regardless. Now, originally the plan was for 8 million square feet of developed space in Devens, and that was predicated on models of water use and electrical use and other infrastructure that turned out to be wrong in a good way. It's much lower than was anticipated. So that number's gone to 8 million to 10 million and 10 million to 20 million. Think about how many people, how many employees that is. These are people who are going to be coming to Devens. They need places to live, they need places to shop, they need services, they need to eat. We can have a part of that. We can have a part of that. The third thing I would say is this. Everything that we talk about regarding what we'd like to do with Devens should be seen within the context of our overall Ayer Town goals. Primarily, first and foremost, as written in our master plan, as approved by town meeting, is a favoritism to develop closer to the town core and to discourage development further out. Now, this isn't just an environmental nicety of preserving habitats and trees, as important and vital as that is. It's also because when you develop closer to town, you save tons of infrastructure expenses, and you save tons on what it takes to provide services. At the same time, you actually collect more money in tax revenues. So it's a win-win both ways. Developing closer to the core, where we have transportation, where we already have roads and infrastructure and water and sewer, and where we already have the service structure to address the needs of those areas, as opposed to moving out, developing more roads, spending more money on pipes and lines and services and more police officers, more firefighters, etc. So there's that overall greater efficiency which dovetails on really a greater town. So, in any process, there's a kind of funnel. Whatever we start with, what we know by the end will be whittled down to something practical that we can focus on. But be aware of this. The larger the input at the beginning of the funnel, the larger the potential outcome at the end. So my last comment before we load the bus is this. Please think and imagine big. Because we have the chance to do it. It's a rare opportunity. So let's do that together. Let's think big. Let's stay on top of the issues. Let's keep talking to each other. And by the time 2033 rolls around, Ayer can do this. Thanks.
Did we pick the right time to be the right?
Yes.
John Finley, the chairman of our planning board. Fantastic. Now, there's going to be a big old marked bus. Big one.
Oh, the bus is
But
here.
we might have to make, oh, is it there, Jim? It's going to be sitting like this? It's already there. Cool. Wow, look at the turnout. I don't think we're all going to be able to, I think the bus holds about 30 to 35 folks. So we may have to be selective. Maybe the municipal staff people, hold back. The folks that it's going to be a great bus. But if you need to use the restrooms, which are here, check emails. We're going to be right up here on the Columbia Street side of the building. Get your spot on the bus, guys. It's going to be a killer tour. All right. This is great. Great. All